Hey guys, this is Ray, and out here on the trails with some deep thoughts for you. Today's thought is, maybe it's hard for us to agree with one another even after disagreeing for so long, because then that would mean we had learned something new, which means we were all a little bit dumber before we learned that something new. Nobody likes to admit to being dumber. So how can we possibly in public learn that we can say, that we can acknowledge that we learned something? We can't, it's difficult. It's kind of like on Star Trek, when Kirk has to convince Spock that, live long and prosper, has to convince Spock that he's been too traumatized to make the assessment peacefully without emotion being the key there. When we lose our cool, oftentimes we lash out physically, and when there's no physical outlet, it's verbally. So for those of us who have held back from assaulting a female physically, perhaps we've assaulted her verbally in the past. Those of us being, the men who were taught by our fathers, who are the most resistant to getting past agreeing to disagree. To agree to disagree is to say, I'm going to be as ignorant as you in your resolve towards admitting that something might be wrong, and I'm going to continue in my own comfort, even at the cost of our very friendship. Those are the things that kind of bother me when it comes to our communication lately. Because I've got many very educated, well-degreed, well-traveled, got some great war stories, as it were. But what about the successes? How about the fathers that have raised their sons truly, nurtured them? I'm just speaking for myself whenever I speak, so if I piss any of you off, it's by coincidence. It has nothing to do with you. I'm just talking about my circumstances. There was a loud noise here in this tree right behind me. More often than not, I'm finding it's a giant spiny crevice lizard that are hanging out right at face level, and I'm overlooking them because I'm not in the moment, because I'm talking about things that come to mind while I'm walking. I'm doing it for a few purposes though. I like to multitask, and that way I can work hard, play hard, right? Well, this is my work. I'm showing you how quiet these woods are, without people, without nature. And that's not really how I mean it either. It's very quiet. Not many birds, not many animals that we used to see just a year ago. Squirrels, ringtails, armadillos, possums, raccoons. They've all moved into the last pockets of resistance, ones that are sucking it up the fastest. How can I possibly say that? What kind of a person am I to call out what it is we are absolutely not doing? I don't know. Tell me if you get mad, or tell you if it makes you happy to hear these things. That's usually the difference. Hey there. And it's kind of hard to determine which is which if people are yelling at each other. So that's why I bring you to the trails to walk along with me. You see people doing different things, exercise, watching wildlife, birding. But some of these things are increasingly rare. Especially with people walking together anymore, you know. Now it's just the things that you would think would bring the world together. Young love, family, health-related issues. Never just someone to enjoy it. Taking it for granted. Isn't that what we do when we yell at each other about things that we ourselves have no bearing in? Isn't that leveraging false witness against one another to talk about people we don't even know? I don't know. I'm not one of everyone else, I guess. Then again, we are all one another, and so you may not respond all the time, but I know you'll respond on time when it matters. To me, it matters now. I've been walking this whole time, and it's not just because I'm talking that I don't hear any birds. It's just that they typically go to where the food's at. Wouldn't you? Isn't that what you're doing? It takes one to know one. All of us recognize that we're going after creature comforts. But do we recognize the actual creatures or the resources that these comforts are coming from? And how fast they're being depleted? I'd like to say it's up to every individual, but it's up to everyone together. Especially with the addition of our fathers. I mean that on a multitude of levels. So, here's to our fathers plus action. Peace.